All right, so here we are checking out some weather news here. Wisconsin microburst down so many trees the damage can be seen from space. And we had a Decero. What do you call those? A Decero? A Decaro? We had one of those go through the state, along with other storms with high winds. Destructive thunderstorm winds damaged tens of thousands of trees in northern Wisconsin on Friday night. Yeah, this is the storm I was talking about. Let the scar and heavily forested region visible from space. You can see the large area of tree damage between the areas of July 22nd and before and after comparison above. It's pointed out by Scott Boschmeyer, a research meteorologist at the Cooperative Institute for Meteorological Satellite Studies. Notice how the zone where the tree damage occurred appears lighter compared to the same area than before in the images from July 11th. You can take a look at it here on the grandsolarminimum.com. Talking about what's happening right now. Record cold in July, unusually strong midsummer cold front refreshes plains and south. And yes, here in the Northeast, we also, today I was actually in meetings all day with my district manager, and we were coming out of a location that we manage, and just walking outside was such a breath of, literally a breath of fresh air. It felt wonderful today, considering on how hot and muggy it was all weekend for most of us here in the Midwest and the Northeast and the South. It was brutal for some of us folks out here. But a cold front has taken an unusually far southward plunge by late July standards. This has brought cooler and less humid air far south as the parts of the Gulf Coast and Texas. That's right, folks. Texas is feeling it tonight, folks. An unusually potent plush of cool, dry air by late July standards will be set daily record lows across the plains and south this week. A welcome break from summer's heat and humidity. Let's talk about that real quick. When we broadcasted our broadcast last week, I believe it was Thursday night, we were talking about the heat wave. And I want to apologize to my listeners for reporting on this heat wave. I didn't really even think about it until watching others in the community speak of it as well. Folks, we were told by multiple news agencies over the weekend that we were in a heat wave, but yet they were not displaying the actual real-time surface temps. In other words, to beef up this low-grade 90-degree invasion weather, we had to show the real feel to tell everyone, 91 just doesn't seem that hot. But when you say it's 108 degrees on the heat index, well, watch out. Now, I get it. It's still dangerous. You still have heat warnings when you have heat indices that high. But as several other people have pointed out in this community, heat waves are not heat waves anymore. 3 days is the criteria. That's the minimum. But 2012, a lot of places, I remember, good Lord, the month of July in southern Tennessee, I don't think my AC unit went off. The entire month of July, it was on 24/7. It was so hot. It was so humid. That's a heat wave. 2012. 3 days of 90 degrees and triple-digit heat indices. That's hot weather. That's go get in the lake and play around in the pool for the whole day. Don't go outside and do strenuous activities for a long period of time. I bumped into a roofer and asked him how he was going to adapt to working on Saturday. And a lot of folks out there are probably like, well, you wouldn't catch me on a roof during a 94-degree excessive heat warning. But if you're a roofer, A, you wear long sleeves. B, that way when you start sweating and the wind blows up there, you feel it even better. It cools you off quicker. But not only that, and this goes back to how we've talked about on this channel, for the grand solar minimum conditions to survive, we have to adapt. Just like roofers and other construction workers, they will adapt to the climate as well. What are you talking about, Jake, right? I'm dragging this out too long. So instead of this gentleman taking Saturday off and letting his employees sitting home in the cool AC of their homes, they're out on roofs at 5:30 in the morning when the sun's up. Brilliant. Out here in upstate New York, I don't know what the ordinances are, but he's got his guys on the job site at 5:30 in the morning when the sunlight comes out so they can begin their work. And honestly, put in about 7 hours of real work by the time it's time to wrap it up. Around 11:30 noon, now you're starting to feel the heat. Now you're starting to feel the humidity. Now it's time to get off the roof. But I applaud this roofer for dedication. Obviously, he makes money doing this for a living. But this is the kind of attitude we have to have for what's about to happen. I spoke to some people today that I'm acquainted with, and they kind of chuckled at me when I called Bill Nye the science fraud guy. And we had a private talk, the five of us, and talked about my reason for making that claim about Bill Nye. And I kind of quickly went into a few things. Briefly, what happens during grand solar minimums. You know, shorter summers, shorter growth seasons, colder and longer winters, more floods, more snow, colder temperatures in the winter, cooler summers in some regions, and shorter growth seasons will eventually lead to crop loss. I was able to show them the chart with the CO2 still rising and the temperature dropping, and also showed them a couple of pictures of some Walmarts with empty shelves in the peas and green beans in the potato section. Some of these people actually work in retail stores and recognize those signs immediately. But all I said to them when they asked me why I thought Bill Nye was lying about climate, I asked a simple question. What if I showed you the raw data that shows different? Then what would you say? And impressively, the gentleman replied to me, he says, I'd definitely be willing to listen. I would be interested in that. If you could show me the real data that contradicts what we've been taught for the last 30 years, I'm ready to hear it. And that to me is an indication that I think some people are now starting to be aware of how strange the weather is and how bad some of these storms are, the flooding. They've never seen anything like this. And now it's just too much for them to ignore. So they want answers too. And I provided them with the most basic and scientific explanation I could give. And I think a few people are now hooked on the information and are currently viewing the information on the website as we speak. But if you ever find yourself in that conversation with a group of people and you talk about, well, how can you prove this? Well, how do I know? Guys, just tell them. Just be honest. What if I could show you the raw data that tells you otherwise? Then what would you think? And if you're telling someone that you're going to give them proof, I mean, they're going to jump all over it. Most of you out there are critical thinkers, very logical people, good heads on your shoulders. I assume you surround yourself with people like-minded. So it shouldn't be that difficult to communicate to your friends and family who are also like-minded and critical thinking like you. Just tell them, I can show you the raw data. I can show you the truth and the proof that I have that shows that man's not controlling the climate. TheGrandSolarMinimum.com is a wonderful resource tool for you folks. I can't stress that enough. Of course I'm biased. It's my website. But we have information, and just to kind of brag here for a little bit, I know we're on a broadcast. So many things. We're still working on the community, the social profile, the Facebook-like features. Then we have space weather, we have global weather, national radars. Then we have GSM resources, a glossary that Mari is building, the crop reports, climate blogs, Climate Depot, Mark Moran, David Dilley, Dr. Roy Spencer, No Trick Zone, Per Stradberg, Cooling News, Piers Corbin. Then you got your volcanoes and earthquakes. Folks, everything here on this website is all you need to track and observe on what's happening right now. If you have questions, chances are you're going to find the answers on this website as well. And if not from us, you could reach out to other individuals who share this information as well. We also include our beloved David Birch, the Starman's Twitter feed on our website as well. And this guy has been a treasure trove of information for this channel and many others in the Grand Solar Minimum community to help understand what's happening and what's going to continue to happen. I'd like to say that if you guys do decide to subscribe to our channel or maybe become a Patreon member or donate to the channel, I'd like to say that you're in an area where you will get the answer. You'll get the truth, and it won't be anything overhyped. It won't be anything over sensationalized. It'll be the facts and nothing but the facts, as we've always tried to keep this standard on our channel. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at tropical tidbits here, folks. The moisture is leaving the United States, the majority of it anyway. We've got some rain showers we're dealing with going into Wednesday, some severe weather possible for the Carolinas into Virginia, parts of the South. Also, scattered showers in Michigan and back in parts of Illinois, Minnesota, Wisconsin. But as we move through the week, Wednesday, July 24th, high pressure sits right over the middle. So this dry weather, folks, in Nebraska, Iowa, Missouri, Kansas, all those areas, very welcome. Scattered rain does move in by the Thursday on the 25th, but quickly dissipates. And that high pressure continues to dominate as it shoots off in the Atlantic, kind of hangs around the East Coast, keeping things dry through Ohio, Kentucky, Indiana, Illinois, Missouri, Iowa, Arkansas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Tennessee. The South, you're starting to get a little bit wetter now. High pressure moves off into the Atlantic. Showers developing in the Great Lakes, and by the time we get to July 28th is when the South and the Midwest can expect more precipitation. So the good news for the majority of us in the Plain States is we are going to have a dry week for a change. And as we wind up July, we do see showers and storms back in the forecast, but that's 8 to 10 days out into the Midwest and into the Northeast. By August 1st, another high-pressure system is going to try to take over in the United States, keeping things a little moist on the East Coast on August 1st, but still mainly dry across the Plain States. Going into August 2nd, some showers and thunderstorms roll into the Great Lakes, Wisconsin, Michigan, parts of Ohio, parts of Pennsylvania, the Mid-Atlantic states. Again, dry weather for the Central Plains, the Midwest. Folks, this is looking good. If you're a farmer in those areas, towards the second week of August, we do see a line of moisture begin to kind of inundate the same area over and over again. Illinois, Indiana, Ohio River. Got to watch that there. That's the second week of August. And as that high pressure finally moves out of the lower 48, low pressure settles in once again by the second week of August, late second week of August. A decent sized low pressure system forms across the central Plain States, moving across into the Midwest. And at this point, with this, looking at this right here, we do expect to see moisture to spread eastward as we continue in August. So I think some encouraging news here for farmers in the Midwest. Mainly dry for the most part, some scattered showers across the northern plains. Get to the 27th, the 28th, some scattered showers across the Midwest and the South are possible. Heavy rain across Iowa, Missouri, and Illinois. But as we get to August 1st, we dry out again. Besides the northern Great Lakes, that pattern shift as far as rain goes, for the most part, guys, is staying in the Southwest where it is typically in its monsoon season. Let's go ahead and take a look at some temperature readings, because I know we've got some changes. We saw light 80s through late July, and that changed a little bit. Right now, we are experiencing some amazing weather after this heat wave. 70s and 80s for the rest of the week here across Ohio, Pennsylvania, New York. And then we start to warm up as we get closer to the weekend. Nowhere near as hot as last weekend, but we're going to still see some low 80s, mid 80s in most of the parts of the country. The 90s and 100s will stay into the south. And then another cold front kind of makes a dip through Ohio, Indiana, Illinois. Not as far deep as this previous cold front, as we are still technically in the dog days of summer. Some heat returning to the central plains, and this is much needed. for people in Nebraska and Kansas and Oklahoma and Texas. Parts of Arkansas and Missouri as well, but we really need that consistent heat all over Nebraska and Iowa as well. Illinois and Indiana could sure use some of it as well, and it's just not going to get there. Look at this, guys. Look at what the GFS is suggesting for the second week of August in the Northeast. August 5th, daytime highs, 70s. August 6th, there's your nighttime lows. Daytime highs, upper 50s in upstate New York, 68 degrees for a high on August 6th. 50 degrees for your low, August 7th. Daytime high on August 7th is going to be 69 degrees in the Albany capital region. Look at the cooler weather across Ohio, West Virginia, Pennsylvania, and the Northeast region. Normal summer temps in Texas, Oklahoma, and parts of Kansas. And then some normal summer heat returning to the region as the jet stream will balance back out to its typical summer pattern. But I'm looking at temperatures in Ohio in the mid-70s, August 8th. It almost feels like anything in this region from here all the way to the East Coast, all this right here, I have a feeling that we are going to see the colder temperatures in this region first. We will see our first snowfall, first freeze in this particular region in the United States. Can't guarantee it, but I just have a hunch. Especially in the Northeast region, for real. Surprised to see the temperature readings actually go that far low. All right, so this is usually a part of the show where I bring Mari on to say hello to everyone who is out there in the chat. I know she's been on duty tonight. Here is Mari. Mari, would you like to say hello to our lovely fans tonight?
Hello, lovely fans tonight. Man, have quite an active crowd in the chat, and we've seen some subscribers I haven't seen in a while. Lady T gave us an update on her container garden. She says it's an absolute failure. She's been struggling with it. I'm so sorry to hear that. I know she was working on some potatoes, and she said they were looking good for a bit, and now she has come back weeks later and said epic fail. So I'm very sorry to hear that. Shirley says she is now stocking up on dry beans and rice. That's very awesome to hear people actually taking action and doing just little small steps like that go a long way. I have an article on our website about how to store beans, rice, all that with oxygen absorbers, Mylar bags. Very affordable way to get prepped and just get started on stocking up your food supply. Thor, he says it's 68 degrees in Maine, and looks like the AGW wingers are looking pretty sheepish right now. It was short-lived for them, eh?
It was.
So, yeah, we have cold waves coming in. It's just wacky weather, and this is part of the disturbed weather patterns that we see going into Grand Solar Minute. We think it's weird now, just wait. Oh, let's see. We have a beekeeper, Marco. He's having the best honey harvest ever right now. The flow is on heavy and the bees are working like crazy. That's really, really great to hear people having bees. And I don't know, we haven't really seen a lot of bees around here, have we?
I haven't seen any.
Which is strange because we have a lot of bees flowers
out here.
Yeah.
Usually you're swatting at least the yellow jackets, but I haven't even seen those either.
I haven't, and oh, that puppy is hard work. And they're like, oh, and I'm just like, yeah, it was Jake's idea. As I chase around the puppy during the live show behind you while they WWE wrestle.
Just go ahead and put them in a room and shut the door. You know that.
But then they whine. It's awful.
Well, we can't pick that up on the
I'd like to thank SoulQuest for your super chat. They're from Ohio. I was saying how much I love Ohio. They're actually from Cleveland. And I said, Cleveland rocks. And someone came in and was like, ugh, I can't stand Cleveland. And I understand both sides, but we are big Cleveland fans, aren't we, Jake?
Well, I'm from Ohio. Grew up watching Cleveland football all my life. So those of you who are from Cleveland, Ohio, I know you're excited about August 8th, as I am. But hey, guys, listen. Just because we're in a grand solar minimum doesn't mean we need to stop living our lives, too. The most important thing is to get ready for this event, but we also have to remember to take time to find some small, simple pleasures as well.
A lot of people are talking about moving south where it's warmer, and I'm just like, gosh, if everyone's going to move down south, I might just brave the snow and learn how to garden in the snow.
It's going to be crowded down there, too.
Some people are agreeing. Maybe we should, start like a North Country gardening club. Who knows? It would be great. I'm glad you showed off the website. It's a work in progress.
There's a lot to do.
I have so many projects on my plate. It's sometimes I get a little frozen. I don't know which way to look. I'm overwhelmed at times. And the website is really awesome. GSM Social. No one's really using it. I think it was Carl. It was a really lovely girl from, I believe, Australia. She was using it, and I've neglected it because no one's using the social aspect. Let's use it. You can post pictures, and you have a wall just like Facebook and everything, but it's not big brotherized like Facebook. It's another social media platform we could probably use to sort of network together and share ideas. I don't know if I have anything else. About the Valentina Zarkova donation, I really has bothered me to see the criticism of her paper. I've dug into these criticisms to try to gain understanding what these people are talking about, and it turns out that the people criticizing her paper lack the understanding of the paper and the celestial mechanics of the paper. And she's going to have a public statement on that. And I just want to make sure that she's supported and her team supported. And a lot of people were saying the other way, direct having her donation go to the bank was too difficult. They wanted an easier way to donate funds. So I figured this would be the easiest way to do it. If you can support her, please do. I don't think there's a cap on the goal. It's just... she appreciates everything that we can do, and I don't know exactly what she's going to be using the funds for, but she has a decent amount stored up that this channel has helped bring into her, and whatever the GoFundMe account brings to her. And, it's exciting, her research, what her next paper, what she's going to build on from this paper, because she's really trying to bring other specialties into her specialty. With climatology, it's not just one aspect. You're dealing with several different professions trying to work together to gain understanding.
The main reason for the fundraiser, too, is she's the one sticking her neck out there. She's the one taking the abuse. She's the one putting all the work and the time. We're simply here just trying to transmit the message. But she's the one that's done the real work. She's the one that's going through this tedious process that she's had to go through over the past several months. So we just felt like the least bit we could do is show some kind of appreciation for her hard work and dedication to this topic.
Yeah. So if you can support her, that's great. If you can't, please share the GoFundMe link to others who may be able to just contribute to science. If there's anyone to contribute to in the Grand Solar Minimum community, why not the top astrophysicists researching this topic and how our sun works. She unveiled the heartbeat of the sun in her paper, 2014, 2015, and she's one of few who accurately predicted what the activity for solar cycle 24 would be. I recently tweeted that paper out that shows, it's interesting reading that paper, looking back, how accurate her predictions were. So she definitely has our full support on this channel. Let me see if I got anything else. Oh, Thor is already seeing leaves turn yellow. So that's concerning to me. We have not seen that here.
I have seen that on my drive on the Northway here in 87. So I'm wondering if that has something to do with UV rays. I have seen yellow leaves on trees as well. So we'll continue to look for that. I make the drive several times a week. So that's interesting that it's being seen elsewhere. Of course, Thor, you're in Maine, So that would be more reasonable for me to see that up there. But here in New York, also in the Northway.
Not this time of year, though. That seems very early.
We'll have to look into that a little more.
With the temperature swings, who knows?
Yeah.
You know, we got fungal issues and all kinds of weird stuff with our trees. And one last shout out to Concerned Canadian, because he has tried to wrangle up as many likes as possible for this video today. And he did succeed in getting us over 100. So thank you, Cece.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you, Mari, for that quick update on what was going on in the chat. We appreciate everyone's support. And we got a lot of you who tune in almost every time we go live. We shifted the schedule a little bit. Now we're doing Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sunday afternoons during the day, so we can kind of meet the needs of other people around the world who would like to catch a live broadcast. And we've had some pretty good numbers as far as people showing up to watch the live feed on Sundays. So we will continue that schedule for you guys. Until then, we will talk soon, guys. Take care.